أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لكن الذين اتقوا ربهم لهم غرف من فوقها غرف مبنية تجري من تحتها الأنهار وعد الله لا يخلف الله الميعاد. Verse number 20 of Surah Zumar, Surah number 39. Allah is saying, however, those who fear their Rabb shall have balconies upon balconies, meaning lofty chambers adjacent to one another, built above one another. Beneath these there will be rivers flowing. This is Allah's promise, and Allah never breaks His promise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the above verse, أَفَمَنْ حَقَّ عَلَيْهِ كَلِمَةُ الْعَذَابِ أَفَأَنْتَ تُنْقِذُ مَنْ فِي النَّارِ, is the one who abstains from evil better, or the one against whom decree for punishment has been passed because of his kufr? Can you save the one who is already in the fire? So Allah mentioned the azab and punishment of those upon whom kalimatul azab is fixed. Now Allah is mentioning the reward of those who will be getting the most beautiful and pleasant reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they are, Allah is saying, لَكِنِ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا رَبَّهُمْ, provided they have taqwa, constant awareness of Allah, being mindful of Allah, then for them are ghuraf. Ghuraf is plural of ghurfatun. Ghurfatun literally means room. Over here it means balconies, lofty chambers, and beautiful palaces, mansions with beautiful, nice rooms. We would love to have a nice house, palace, mansion with large bedrooms. So rooms, spacious rooms are a blessing. So their rooms will be extremely spacious and beautifully adorned. One riwayat, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Inna fil jannati la ghurafa yura butuniha min zuhuriha wa zuhuruha min butuniha." In Jannah there will be rooms, chambers. The inside will be visible from outside, and outside will be visible from inside. Some Arabi said, "Liman hiya ya Rasulullah?" For whom will they be? And he replied, "Liman atab al-kalam wa at'am al-ta'am wa salla bil-layli wan-nasu niyam." For a person who speaks beautifully, softly, and who feeds the food, and who prays at night while people are sleeping. इसको मिक्सर ऑन करना है?
जी जी कर दो लाइव हो।
अच्छा उसमें तो है चल रहा?
जी उसमें चल।
मेरे ख्याल में अहमद बोल गया था, हम भूल गए। सॉरी। फिर गड़बड़ हो गई है, मैंने भी कुछ काम बोला, कुछ गड़बड़ है।
इंटरनेट आपका है?
हाँ इंटरनेट है।
अच्छा
कामों को ही कहना पड़ेगा। हाँ मेरे ख्याल में हो गया। फोड़ दिया गया ना बोला। हाँ बोला अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। जी, so We are reading the 20th verse of Surah Zumar 39. Allah is saying those who have taqwa will have balconies upon which balconies will be constructed, meaning like you have on high ground. Tell me, high ground. Balconies will be constructed. Ji. Upon highlands. So there will be ghuraf, beautiful palaces, mansions made for them. The hadith said balconies you can see outside from inside and inside from outside. Now today we might be able to understand it with patio doors. You can see the swimming pool outside, the garden outside. But in the days of that time, Sahaba Rizwanullah, they might not have understood it. So they asked, Ya Rasulullah, so beautiful. Now, these balconies we have over here are made from glass. And the homes in Jannah will be made from gold and silver. So they will be of something different. And some special material will be made for those balconies. This is why Prophet ﷺ is probably saying, يُرَى بُطُونُهَا مِنْ ظُهُورِهَا وَظُهُورُهَا مِنْ بُطُونِهَا. And they will be for those who speak softly, may Allah give us soft tongue, and those who feed others, and those who pray at night while people are sleeping. Another hadith of Musnad Ahmad says, إِنَّ أَهْلَ الْجَنَّةِ لَيَتَرَاءَوْنَ الْغُرْفَةَ فِي الْجَنَّةِ كَمَا تَرَاءَوْنَ الْكَوْكَبَ فِي أُفُقِ السَّمَاءِ. The people of Jannat will see the mansions above them like you look at stars above you. Another riwayat said, Abu Hurairah reports that we said to the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, inna إذا رأيناك رقت قلوبنا وكنا من أهل الآخرة فإذا فارقناك أعجبتنا الدنيا وشممنا النساء والأولاد. Ya Rasulullah, when we see you, then in your presence our hearts soften, and we are from the people of Akhirat. But when we separate from you, we are pleased by the dunya, and we hug and kiss and smell the fragrance of our wives and enjoy our children. So our condition differs. Prophet ﷺ said, if you remain on the condition in which you are in my presence, then the angels will shake hands with you while you are walking on the streets, and they would come to visit you in your homes. However, if you did not make mistakes and sin, Allah would bring a people who would do that, Allah would forgive them. And then he said, Ya Rasulullah, akhbirna anil jannati ma bina'uha. Tell us about Jannah, how it will be constructed. And he said, labinatun min dhahabin wa labinatun min fiddatin. One brick of gold, one brick of silver. Milatuha al-miskul adfar. The cement to join the bricks will be a tez khushbu wala mushk, a musk with a beautiful fragrance. Hasba'uha al-lu'lu' wal-yaqut. The pebbles spread out and scattered in the courtyard will be lu'lu' and yaqut, red rubies and diamonds. Turbatu az-za'fran, and the sand spread out will be of za'fran. Man yadkhuluha yan'am wa la yab'as. Whoever goes in Jannat will enjoy forever and will never be sad. Wa yakhlud wa la yamut, remain forever, will not die. La tabla thiyabuhu, the clothes will not tear. Wa la yafna shababuhu, the youth will not finish. And then he said some other nasihats. ثلاثة لا ترد دعوتهم الإمام العادل والصائم حتى يفطر ودعوة المظلوم تحمل على الغمام وتفتح لها أبواب السماوات ويقول رب وعزتي لأنصرنك ولو بعد حين. So the hadith gives a brief description of Jannah. This is لهم غرف من فوقها غرف مبنية تجري من تحتها الأنهار. Rivers will flow from beneath them. وعد الله. This is a promise of Allah. لا يخلف الله الميعاد. And Allah never breaks His promise.
تجری من تحتی الانہار بار بار کلام مجید میں اللہ تعالیٰ نے اس کو بتایا
جی بالکل صحیح فرمایا.
کئی
کئی دفعہ جگہ جگہ آتا ہے. صحیح ہے. سامنے سے مطلب تحتیات کے معنی سامنے سے. اور 4 نہریں وہی دودھ شہد اور شراب اور پانی. دودھ پانی شراب شہد.
واسنس یہ جو لافٹی جنت کا جو ذکر اس میں آ رہا ہے
ہاں
اس میں جو ایگزامپل حدیث میں آئی کتنی پیاری کہ اے پرسن ڈویلنگ آن دی ارتھ لوکنگ ایٹ دی اسٹار. فاصلے کے لحاظ سے ہم سوچیں مائلس اینڈ مائلس تھاؤزنڈس میں بھی تھاؤزنڈس آف مائل تو اس سے اس کی لافٹینس کے علاوہ جنت کی وسعت کا پتہ چلتا ہے.
اللہ ویری گڈ پوائنٹ.
کتنی بڑی جنت
That stars are hundreds of thousands of miles away. Like the sun is 93 million miles away. So if the star is over here this far, so imagine how the gap will be between the mansions. Someone will be high above there and his Jannat will be million times better than other people's Jannat. May Allah give us the high Jannat, Jannatul Firdaus, loftiest Jannat.
اسی لیے قیامت کے خود میں جو اونچی اونچی عمارتیں بنائی جائے کا ذکر آ رہا ہے نا تو جنت کے سامنے تو یہ ہیج ہے
کچھ بھی
چاہے وہ برج
نہیں.
اللہ
کتنا بڑا برج کیوں نہ ہو جنت کے مقابلے میں ہیج ہے کچھ بھی نہیں ہے. چاہے 100 کیا نام فلورز کا ٹاور ہو اور اس کا ایک شخص مالک ہو اور وہ اس میں رہتا ہو اپنی فیملی کے ساتھ پھر بھی وہ جنت کے سامنے ہیج ہے.
بالکل ہے. ٹرانسپیرنسی کے لحاظ سے بھی ایک بات مجھے سمجھ میں آ رہی کہ یہاں جو لوگ ہوتے ہیں اپنے آپ کو بولتے ہیں پرائیویسی کے لحاظ سے اگر ایک بڑا سا مکان ہے تو ان کے مرر وغیرہ کا ٹرانسپیرنسی نہیں رہتی تاکہ لوگ دیکھیں میرے پاس کتنی دولت ہے میں کیا کر رہا ہوں کیا کر رہا ہوں. ایون کاروں میں بھی شیڈڈ آ جاتا ہے. یہاں باہر کے بھی دیکھ سکتے ہیں کہ اس طرح اشارہ یہ ہے جنتیوں کے دل میں ذرا برابر بھی کینہ نہیں ہوگا.
دل صاف ہوں گے. اگر کسی کا جنت دیکھیں گے تو اس سے جلس نہیں ہوں گے. یہاں پر دنیا میں تو اپنا ونڈو ٹنٹ کر کے چھپانا پڑتا ہے کہ لوگ دیکھ کر جلس نہ ہو جائیں. صحیح ہے. تو وہاں پر اللہ رب العزت والجلال کہیں گے کہ بھئی تمہاری جنت سے کوئی پاس ہو دیکھے تو اس کے دل میں حسد نہیں ہوگا.
ہم لوگوں کو تو ٹائم ٹو ٹائم وی شوڈ ریئلی اس کی طرف توجہ کر کے خیال میں لانا بہت اچھی چیز ہے.
یہ مراقبہ ہے, اسی کو مراقبہ کہتے ہیں. آگے اللہ فرماتے ہیں ألم تر أن الله أنزل من السماء ماء فسلكه ينابيع في الأرض ثم يخرج به زرعا مختلفا ألوانه ثم يهيج فتراه مصفرا ثم يجعله حطاما إن في ذلك لذكرى لأولي الألباب. Do you not see that Allah sends the rain from the sky and then channels it in springs within the earth? Thereafter he brings forth crops of different colors with it. Then the crops wither away and you will see it turn yellow. After which Allah reduces it to chaff. There is certainly a reminder in this for people of intelligence. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that in the above verses Allah mentioned both categories, those who will be going for the azab and those who will be going for Jannah. So Allah is giving an example that don't take this dunya as everything. This dunya is just temporary and it's for you to do good deeds so you can get to the good place. Allah is giving an example that rainwater sent down from the heavens. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused it to go inside the earth and then the earth absorbed the water and then you will see fountains springing forth from various places and people use the sweet water from the fountains, or in places there are wells and people dig the water and use the well water, or in reform of rivers where the rivers flow and people use that for irrigating. Then after that, with that water, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala produces crops which will have various colors. Various colors, we see flowers and we see vegetables of various colors. So Allah produces all that with one rainwater. And ثُمَّ يَهِيجُ, after which it withers away, and you will see it turn yellow, meaning it dries up. The grass, the corns, the wheat, the barley, and the rice, they dry up and they turn yellow. ثُمَّ يَجْعَلُهُ حُطَامًا, then Allah turns it into chaff, meaning unwanted husks, separates the grain from the chaff, and they are both separated, and the grains are for use of human beings, and the chaff is for the animals to enjoy. So there is certainly a reminder in there for people of intelligence, meaning reminding them that this world will also one day come to an end, like the crops. Despite it looking green and flourishing, but a time is going to come when everything will end. So keep your end in mind. This is a brief explanation of it. Allama Shabir Ahmad Usmani rahmatullahi alayhi in his Fawaid explains it a little bit with a little bit of detail. He says, I'll read in Urdu, Dr. Sahab. अक्लमंद आदमी खेती का हाल देखकर नसीहत हासिल कर सकता है कि जिस तरह इसकी रौनक और सरसब्जी चंद रोजा थी फिर चूरा चूरा किया गया, यही हाल दुनिया के चहल पहल का होगा। चाहिए कि आदमी दुनिया की आरजी बहार पर मफ्तून होकर अपने अंजाम से गाफिल न हो जाए। जैसे खेती मुख्तलिफ अज्जा से मुरक्कब है, मसलन उसमें दाना है जो आदमियों की ग़िज़ा बनता है, और भूसा भी है जो जानवरों का चारा बनता है, और हर एक जुज़ से नफ़ा उठाना बिदून इसके मुमकिन नहीं कि दूसरे अज्जा से उसको अलग करें और अपने अपने ठिकाने पर पहुँचाएं। यानी दाने से और भूसे से नफ़ा उठाना तब होगा जब दोनों को सेपरेट कर दें और भूसे को भूसे की जगह भेज दें और दाने को दाने की जगह भेज दें। तो फिर दाने को आटा बनाकर पीस करके फिर खाया जाएगा और भूसा जो है वो जानवरों को खिलाया जाएगा। फरमाया इसी तरह समझ लो कि इस दुनिया को समझ लो कि इसमें नेकी बदी राहत तकलीफ वगैरह सब मिले जुले हैं। नेकी और बदी क्या है? मिली जुली है, मिक्स है। एक वक्त आएगा कि दुनिया की खेती कटेगी और खूब चूरा चूरा किया जाएगा, फिर उसमें हर एक जुज को उसके मुनासिब ठिकाने पर पहुंचा दिया जाएगा। नेकी और राहत अपने मुस्तकर व मरकज पर पहुंच जाएगी और बदी और तकलीफ अपने खजाने में जा मिलेगी। नेकी और राहत का मुस्तकर जन्नत है और बदी और तकलीफ का मुस्तकर जहन्नम है। इस लिहाज से नेकी का अंजाम जन्नत और जन्नत की राहतें समझ लेनी चाहिए, और बदी का मुस्तकर जहन्नम है तो बदी का माल जहन्नम और जहन्नम की तकलीफ होगा। गर्ज ये कि खेती के मुख्तलिफ अहवाल देख कर अक्लमंद लोग बहुत मुफीद सबक हासिल कर सकते हैं। नीज़ मजमून आयत में इधर भी इशारा हो गया कि जिस खुदा ने आसमानी बारिश से ज़मीन में चश्मे जारी किए, वही जन्नत के महल्लात में निहायत करीने के साथ नहरों का सिलसिला भी जारी कर देगा। ये भी इशारा हो गया। तो ये बहुत प्यारी बात थी कि ज़मीन बारिश बरसी और खेती उगी, दाना अलग भूसा अलग। बस इसी तरह से इस दुनिया में भी अल्लाह दाना अलग भूसा अलग कर देंगे। जी, वो हदीस में है कि क़यामत के रोज़ ऐलान होगा, या आदम इब्अस बअसन नार, दोज़ख का टोला निकालो। कितना टोला? तो हुक्म होगा 1000 में से एक जन्नती और 999 डेंजर नंबर दोज़खी। सहाबा चौंके, या रसूल अल्लाह, वो एक जन्नती, who's going to be the one जन्नती? 999 in Jannah. So Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Abshiru, one from you and 999 from Yajuj Majuj. They are huge in numbers, so they are included in this count. Now, Surah explained there that when you want to take, for example, juice out from sugar cane, so you put it through the machine and a glass of juice comes out but how much is the kachara and the sugar canes? क्या कहते हैं? शाफ बोलते हैं, शाफी बोलते हैं. तो that is huge, and juice is 1 glass. Orange juice, we take juice out, we take 1 glass, and so many oranges, the kachara to throw in the bin. So similarly, this dunya Allah has created, and the cream and the juice is very little in comparison to the kachara and the useless things that are out there. So maybe Allah Pak is indicating over here as well that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends down rainwater and then produce comes and we get grains on one side, little amount of grain, and there's so much bhusa and shaf which is given, collected, gathered, given to the animals to eat. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do that, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can differentiate between the good and the bad on the day of Qiyamah and put the good in Jannah and the bad in Jahannam, like example is mentioned here. जी जी अल्लाह उस्मानी तो अल्लाह उस्मानी क्या कहना अल्लाह मज़ाक का जी
ये जो वेजिटेशन और क्रॉप्स का बयान हो रहा है ना, एग्जैक्टली द सेम थीम ऑन द 5th आया आप सूरह कहफ जी वज़रिब लहुम मसलन हयाती दुनिया कमाइन अंज़लनाहु मिनस समाई फख्तरत बिही
नबातुल अर्द फअस्बह हशीमन तज़रूहु रियाह
हवा में उड़ जाएगा
वकान अल्लाहु अला कुल्लि शैइन मुक़तदिर. May Allah give us the ability to understand the reality of life. So then Allah goes on to say أفمن شرح الله صدره للإسلام فهو على نور من ربه فويل للقاسية قلوبهم من ذكر الله أولئك في ضلال مبين. अच्छा यहाँ पर अन्न अल्लाह अनज़ल मिनस समाई माअन जो भी पिछली आयत में पढ़ा ना, तो में इब्न कसीर ने why Allah mentioned sending down the rainwater from the skies, so how the clouds are formed and then a rain is sent down, उसका तो भी उन्होंने समझाया है. और ये भी समझाया, सईद इब्न जुबैर कहते हैं कि ऊपर जो है बर्फ़ है और वो बर्फ़ से फिर अल्लाह पाक बादलों को फॉर्म कराते हैं. जैसे बड़े बड़े पहाड़ हैं दुनिया में, उन पहाड़ों पे बर्फ़ है और उससे वो पानी ऊपर चढ़ता है स्टीम की शक्ल में और वहाँ से फिर नीचे उतरता है, जैसे साइंस में हमने पढ़ा था. तो वो बहरहाल जो भी वो इब्न कसीर ने थोड़ा उसको टच किया है. आगे अल्लाह फरमाते हैं अफमन शरह अल्लाहु सदरहु लिल इस्लाम फहुव अला नूरिन मिन रब्बिही फवैलुल लिल क़ासियति क़ुलूबुहुम मिन ज़िक्रिल्लाह उलाइका फ़ी ज़लालिन मुबीन. Is the person whose heart Allah has opened to Islam, broadened for Islam, thus he is upon a nur from his Rabb, better, or the disbeliever better, whose heart is strictened and not open for Islam but filled with disbelief? Allah says, so woe unto those whose hearts are hardened against Allah's dhikr and remembrance. They are in clearly manifest error. أَفَمَنْ شَرَحَ اللَّهُ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. In the previous verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned some dalail of His qudrat and isbati haqq and ibtali batil. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning some gauge of hidayat. How can you gauge whether a person is guided or not guided? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying you can understand that by seeing whether his heart is expanded for Islam or not. If his heart has expanded for Islam, meaning it's open, it's got reverence and respect of Allah, it's got iman, yaqeen, belief, it has fear of Allah in it, and it's got that tenderness, gentleness, softness, then that means the heart is filled with hidayat and guidance. However, if the heart is hard and hardened like a rock, and qasawat is there, and it has it does not have the ability to accept any truth. It has stubbornness in it, and zid and inad and kufr and shirk and disbelief and objection and demands, then that is a sign that the heart is not guided, it's going on the wrong track. So Allah Pak is saying, tell me, is this person better whose heart Allah has opened up for Islam and he is on a special nur from his Rabb? Or kalam is mahzoof, that person better whose heart is qasi, and فَوَيْلٌ لِلْقَاسِيَةِ قُلُوبُهُم is indicating towards that. Imam Qurtubi rahmatullahi alayhi has mentioned over here regarding Sharh Sadr and having nur from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He mentions the hadith wherein Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam prayed this ayat, فَمَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. So he then asked, he was asked, كيف انشرح صدره كيف ينشرح صدره يا رسول الله? How does the heart open up? Now, sadr over here means chest, and chest is where the heart is placed. So sometimes zarf is mentioned, but mazroof is meant, meaning chest is the place where the heart is placed. So maybe the heart is meant. Shah Abdul Aziz Muhaddith Dehlavi Rahmatullah Alayhi said, Sadr in the istilah and in terminology is the name of the gateway towards the nafs, into the heart. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expands that. So normally what happens is shaitan enters the heart through the nafs and through this door called sadr. So he strengthens it and tightens it. But when that door is expanded, then on the other side, that is the qalb, the good side, that will be more expanded. Because normally the nafs is tight and the qalb is widespread. So if the nafs also becomes widespread, then the qalb will become more spread out. So Sharh Sadr means the door to the heart is expanded and everything fits in it is smoothly. And is there any sign of the Sharh Sadr and everything understood, coming into understanding easily, smoothly? We hear, over here Allah said, أَفَمَنْ شَرَحَ اللَّهُ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam said, رَبِّ اشْرَحْ لِي صَدْرِي وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي. For our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, أَلَمْ نَشْرَحْ لَكَ صَدْرَكَ وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ الَّذِي أَنْقَضَ ظَهْرَكَ. So Sahaba asked, Ya Rasulullah, this heart opening up, does it have any sign that a person's heart has opened up for Islam and he has got that nur from his Rabb? And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Inna nura idha dakhala sadra infasaha lahu. When the nur enters the heart opens up for it and makes way for it. Sahaba asked, فَهَلْ لِذَلِكَ مِنْ عَلَامَةٍ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ? Any sign of it? And he said, yes. الإنابة التجافي عن دار الغرور والإنابة إلى دار الخلود والاستعداد للموت قبل نزوله. That a person gets distance from the dunya and gets inclination towards akhirat and starts preparing for akhirat, death before its arrival. This is a sign that the heart, that nur has entered the heart. Imam Qurtubi rahmatullah explains that turning towards akhirat is the main aim, that a person's heart and mind is focused on akhirat. Because when he is focused on akhirat, he will do good deeds. Because akhirat is the place of jaza, reward. So he knows that whatever good I do over here, I will get the reward in akhirat. Since his heart and mind is focused on akhirat, he's going to do good deeds so he can get there and get the good reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he is busy, and he is avoiding bad deeds. Because he knows that in akhirat there's punishment as well for bad deeds, so I must avoid bad deeds. I mustn't steal, I mustn't lie, I mustn't cheat, I mustn't backbite, I mustn't gamble, I mustn't do wrong stuff, zina, sharab, chori, drugs, whatever, so that I can stay away and be protected from that punishment. So, first thing is that he is turning towards akhirat. And then, tajafi an daril ghurur, he has no greed for the dunya. He has no hirs. And he has dislikeness for the akhirat. For the dunya. For the dunya, there is no attachment in his heart with the dunya. Whatever dunya comes and goes, he's happy with it. He's working for his daily bread, but he's not greedy for money. Whatever he gets, he's content with it. So he has that tajafi and daril ghurur. And wal-isti'dadu lil-mawti qabla nuzulihi. Since he is focused on akhirat, he is leading a life of taqwa. He checks everything. He is careful, cautious, mindful, and he is preparing for death. And he's got death in his mind at all the time, that I've got to die, I've got to die, I've got to die. I have to remember my death. I must never forget it. Our Prophet ﷺ had death in his mind all the time. Sometimes he would do istinja, and then he would wipe his hand with the soil. So someone would say, Ya Rasulullah, but water is close by, and you're going to wash your hands with it. So why do you wipe your hands with the soil before you get there? Because in those days, the toilets were outside. They had no toilets in their homes. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, you know, why? This is a small distance, short distance. You're going to come and wash your hands. And he said, لَعَلِّي لَا أَبْلُغُهُ. Perhaps I might not get to the water. What if the angel of death comes before I get to the water? So this is the amount of istihzar and realization of death which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to have. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz was told that your life is at risk and we don't think you're going to survive. Why? Because you've been poisoned and your internal organs have deteriorated and you're going to die. So Umar ibn Abdul Aziz said, you should not feel safe on the life of the one who's not been poisoned either. Don't feel secure about the person who's not been poisoned, because death can come anytime. So, al-isti'dad lil-maut, if you start preparing, remember your death, these three signs are signs that Noor has entered the heart and the person has got Sharh Sadr. May Allah give us Sharh Sadr. Dua is Allahumma shrah sudurana lil Islam. Allah, open our chests and our hearts for Islam so we understand everything about Islam. We have no objections, no reservations, and no shak, shubha, doubt with regards to what Islam has said. Then فَهُوَ عَلَى نُورٍ مِّن رَبِّهِ, the person is on a special nur which is received from his Rabb. Is he equal to the one whose heart is qasi and hard, as mentioned in the following sentence? Woe unto those whose hearts have hardened from zikrullah. Hard-heartedness is a disease of the heart. जी डॉक्टर साहब,
ये लेक्सिकली और ग्रामेटिकली 4-5 अल्फाज दिल के लिए इस्तेमाल किए गए, जैसे वादा है, तो अब ये शरह सदर का इशारा जो है, शरह सदर को उर्दू में सीना बोलते हैं। जितने भी ऑपरेशन दिल के होते हैं तो उनको खोलना ही पड़ता है। हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु तो भी सीना खोला गया,
फिजिकल खोला भी गया,
फिजिकली
रूहानी तौर पर भी शरह सदर, फिजिकली भी।
और बाद रिवायतों में 2-3 दफ़े आता है,
3 दफ़े।
जैसे मेराज का जो सफ़र था उसके अंदर भी ये जो बयान आपने दिया है, उसमें ये अल्फाज आते हैं कि ज़मज़म से धोया गया और उसमें नूर भर दिया,
ईमान और हिकमत भर दिया, ईमान भर दिया, हिकमत भर दिया।
तो यहाँ जो बात हो रही है वो दिल की है। तो दिल इस वास्ते भी है कि दूसरी जगह बोला कि क़ल्ब सलीम लेकर आओ।
इस जा रब्बहु बिक़ल्बिन सलीम। सही है। अल्लाह की नजर दिल पर होती है। क़ुलूबिकुम व अअमालिकुम, अल्लाह दिल को देखते हैं कि दिल कैसा है। सब बातें एक तरफ, दिल अच्छा होना चाहिए। अल्लाह हमारा दिल अच्छा करे।
आपने हज़रत आयशा सिद्दीक़ा रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हा की हदीस हमको समझाने के लिए कई दफ़े बताई है। सवाल किया साहबा ने कि क्या ये क़ल्ब सलीम क्या है, किधर से आता है? तो वो इतना साफ दिल, कैसी मिसालें देता, जैसे बर्ड है, आकर बैठ गया, थोड़ा सा चुभ लिया, उसको डर लगता है,
हाँ।
चलो वो गया। इसीलिए साहबा कहते थे कि मैं पत्थर हो जाता है या दौड़ हो जाता है। तो वाकई
दिल बहुत साउंड थे उनके, साफ सुथरे क्लीन हाथ। सही है, कल्ब सलीम अल्लाह की चाहिए, जो कल्ब सलीम लेकर आएगा वो अल्लाह के यहाँ मकबूल है। कल्ब सलीम नहीं है, इब्राहिम अलैहिस्सलाम कल्ब सलीम लेकर आएंगे। इस जा रब्बहू बिक़ल्बिन सलीम, रब के पास कल्ब सलीम लेकर आए थे। अल्लाह हम सबको कल्ब सलीम अता फरमाए जी। तो शरह सद्र जिसका हो गया वो नूर पर है, तो बर्बादी और तबाही है उनके लिए जिनके दिल अल्लाह के जिक्र से सख्त हो गए हैं। Woe unto those people whose hearts have hardened from the remembrance of Allah, meaning they never remember Allah. If they are reminded about God, they say, don't talk about God. They talk about everything else besides God. So their heart has become hard. They don't want to talk about God. Qasawat qalbiyya. Qurtubi has narrated a hadith from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentioned that Allah says in a hadith Qudsi, "Utlubul hawaij min as-sumaha fa inni ja'altu fihim rahmati." Ask for your needs from the generous people because I have placed my mercy in their hearts. وَلَا تَطْلُبُوهَا مِنَ الْقَاسِيَةِ قُلُوبُهُمْ فَإِنِّي جَعَلْتُ فِيهِمْ سُخْطِي. Don't ask from those whose hearts we've made hard, because I have placed my anger on them. So the difference between a sakhi, generous, soft-hearted person and a hard-hearted person. Soft-hearted, Allah said, I have placed my mercy on him, I have made him merciful and soft-hearted and generous. And hard-hearted, I have placed my anger on him. So don't go to him. Don't go to him to ask, even for a chanda, for anything. Don't go to hard-hearted people. They will abuse you and give nothing. And we have experience of this. So may Allah protect us from hard-hearted. Malik bin Dinar used to say, "Ma duriba abdun bi'uqubatin a'zama min qaswati qalbi." No person is struck by any punishment more severe than hard-heartedness. وَمَا غَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ إِلَّا نَزَعَ الرَّحْمَةَ مِنْ قُلُوبِهِمْ. Whenever Allah gets angry upon a nation, He takes away mercy from their hearts. This is a sign of Allah's anger upon them, that He's taken mercy out of their hearts. He hal ho raha hai. अल्लाह पाक हिफाजत फरमाए, उम्मत को बचाए, उम्मत की हिफाजत फरमाए, अल्लाह हमें भी रहमत नसीब करे, क्योंकि दुनिया का माहौल is being such that it's making everybody hard-hearted, and this extremism and killing and murder and mob lynching and Allah knows what's going around the world, and people coming into leadership who are always making fun and mockery of other communities. This is all the disease of the heart. This is all hard-heartedness. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying this, and qasawat qalbiyya.
उर्दू में कहते हैं इनके दिल पत्थर हो गए, लेकिन अल्लाह ताला बताते हैं कि जिसको खुशियत आ गई तो वो पत्थरों से भी चश्मा जारी कर दे। सूरह बकरा की जो है,
ثم قست قلوبهم وأشد قسوة وإن من الحجارة لما يتفجر منه الأنهار وإن منها لما يشقق فيخرج منه الماء وإن منها لما يهبط من خشية الله والله بغافل عما تعملون. अच्छा, ये कसावत जो आती है ना कल्ब के ऊपर, देखो कल्ब becomes soft with zikrullah. The more zikr you do, the more softer your heart. And qalb becomes hard with unnecessary gossip, layani talk. When hadith said, لا تكثروا الكلام بغير ذكر الله فإن كثرة الكلام بغير ذكر الله قسوة للقلب وإن أبعد الناس من الله القلب القاسي. Don't talk too much other than zikr of Allah. Because talking too much without zikr of Allah hardens the heart. And the most distant heart from Allah is the one which is hardest. The more harder your heart, the more distant you will be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And hearts are hardened by excessive talking, gossip. Surah Baqarah mein summa qasat qulubukum nafsa. What is before that? Before that is the incident of Bani Israel and Baqarah, and Tasbahu Baqarah. And we see they asked unnecessary questions. Ma hiya, ma lawnuha, la faridun wa la bikrun, awanun bayna dhalik. Inna al-baqara tashabaha alayna. They kept on asking, they were talking. This is why their hearts were hardened. So today as well, we talk too much, whether it's about sports, games, cricket, football, tennis, this, that, or whether it's about other worldly stuff, money, going into markets, financial markets, this, that, and always busy on here and there and checking everything on the internet and trying to make most money, and or whether it's just unnecessary mehfil majlis on WhatsApp, on social media, on Instagram, Snapchat, putting everything, posting everything. This is unnecessary talk. These things hurt the heart. And ladies, Allah maaf kare, when ladies start talking, you just have to keep quiet because you just can't continue. So this is why when ladies talk too much, their hearts go hard as well. So excessive talking hardens the heart. So one should learn how to remain silent and listen more. So listen attentively, remain silent. This is why the hadith said, Man samata naja. Whosoever is khamosh tabiyat and silent and keeps himself to himself, he doesn't have any lappan chappan with people. Min husni islamin mare tarkuhu ma la ya'ni, leave la ya'ni things. It doesn't concern me. Why should I go after it? I have nothing to do with it. I'm done. You aap jane, aap tak kam jane. And just leave it. Keep yourself to yourself. And this is what will soften your heart and bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Zikr se dil ko minan wallahi. Allah bi zikr la tatma'innu qulub. So Allah Pak is saying, "Afaman shara'a Allahu sadrahu lil Islam, fahuwa ala nurin min rabbih." The one whose heart is opened up and he is on nur from his Rabb, can he be equal to the one whose heart is hardened? Because woe unto those people whose hearts are hardened from the remembrance of Allah. This also shows importance of zikr. We should do zikr every day without fail. Never miss zikr. There should be mudawamat, consistency, continuity upon zikr. And when you do that, inshallah, this is what will bring the nur of zikr, nur of iman in our hearts. And when that nur enters, what's going to happen? The darkness of sins will go. Because sins form dark patches on our hearts. Even if we think it's minor, unlawful stare, gazing, forms a dark patch on the heart. Or maybe one lie, or one backbiting, or one swearing. Or even if you didn't do anything, you were just sitting with friends and they said something and you heard it. So even hearing that conversation of backbiting also brings dark patches on the hearts. Listening to one song, watching one movie, it forms a black patch on the heart. And you have to get rid of that. And that will be cleansed and purified by zikrullah, remembrance of Allah. So zikrullah should be done with continuity, consistency, and it will soften the heart. If not, the heart will become hard. Reading Islamic books is also a form of zikr. And Mullah Qari Rahmatullah alayhi said, if a person doesn't read any dini, madhabi, religious book for 3 days, then a dark patch will form on the heart. So you must read at least some Quran every day, some religious book every day, whether it's of fiqh or hadith or tafseer, or you must go in at least some durus, tafseer lessons, and try and learn something, study, read. This is what will bring the nur of iman in your heart and keep it soft. And where there is ignorance, there is hard-heartedness. And where there is education, there is softness in the heart. Even if there was some secular education, professors, normally professors and they have learned people, they have soft hearts. So education softens the heart to some degree. So there are ways of softening the heart. We should try and soften our hearts and avoid hardening of the heart. We have to detect it, that I've got this disease in me, I need to cure it, get bayat to a shaykh, stay in their company, learn from them, learn zikr, and do the zikr according to their prescribed manner, and inshallah this will soften the heart. So, أُولَٰئِكَ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Those whose hearts go hard, they are in manifest and clear error. الله نزل أحسن الحديث كتابا متشابها مثاني تقشعر منه جلود الذين يخشون ربهم ثم تلين جلودهم وقلوبهم إلى ذكر الله ذلك هدى الله يهدي به من يشاء ومن يضلل الله فما له من هاد. Allah has revealed the most beautiful articulation, the most beautiful words in the form of a book, the subject matter of similar verses, and which is oft repeated. The bodies of those who fear their Rabb shiver with it, or the skins of those who fear their Rabb shiver with it, then their hearts and bodies soften to Allah's remembrance. This is the guidance of Allah. He guides with it whom He wills, and whoever Allah leads astray will have no guide. Allah nazzala ahsan al-hadith. Imam Qurtubi rahmatullah says, in the aforementioned verses, Allah said, فَبَشِّرْ عِبَادْ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقَوْلِ فَيَتَّبِعُونَ أَحْسَنَهُ. Give good news to those who listen to the words and follow the most beautiful of words. So now Allah is explaining what are the most beautiful words, and He's saying they are the Quran. Quran is the most beautiful of speeches, most beautiful words. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas said that Sahaba Kiram said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, law haddathtana. How nice would it be if you conversed with us, talked to us. So Allah revealed, Allah nazzala ahsan al-hadith. Allah has sent down this most beautiful conversation. So read this conversation of Allah and talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, listen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Sahaba said, law qasasta alayna. It would be nice if you related some nice stories to us. And Allah said, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَصِ. We are revealing to you the best of narratives. And they said, لَوْ ذَكَّرْتَنَا. Oh Allah, it would be nice if you would admonish us. And Allah revealed, أَلَمْ يَأْنِ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن تَخْشَعَ قُلُوبُهُمْ لِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَمَا نَزَلَ مِنَ الْحَقِّ. Has the time not yet arrived for the believers that their heart should humble for the remembrance of Allah and for the haqq which Allah has sent down? So this Quran is the most beautiful of speeches. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu is reported to have said that Sahaba Kiram radiyallahu anhum ajma'een once mentioned some boredom, that we are feeling a little bit down and bored. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, hadithna, talk to us, say something so we can feel nice. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this ayat, Allah nazzala ahsan al-hadith. Allah has sent down to you this most beautiful conversation, read it. So hadith literally means conversation. And because Quran is not a book of story, is not a book of history, is not a book of poetry, it's the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah is Allah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks to us. It's like, a speech, a conversation. Allah is speaking to us. This is why Shah Waliullah Muhaddis Dehlavi Rahmatullah said that people look for rabt and connection between verses. But Shah Waliullah Muhaddis Dehlavi Rahmatullah said that, this is Shahi Kalam. This is a king's speech. And a king doesn't need to follow one pattern and have rabt and connection between verses. A king speaks the way he wants to speak. And he will say whatever he wants to say, whenever he wants to say, in whichever manner he wants to say. And Allah is the king of all kings. He is the master of all masters. So He speaks in the way which befits Him. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls Quran hadith. Like in Surah Al-Kahf, إِن لَمْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَسَفًا. And in other place, فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ بَعْدَهُ يُؤْمِنُونَ أَفَمِنْ هَذَا الْحَدِيثِ تَعْجَبُونَ وَمَنْ أَصْدَقُ مِنَ اللَّهِ حَدِيثًا فَذَرْنِي وَمَنْ يُكَذِّبُ بِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ. So Allah is talking to us in a friendly manner. This is why in Surah Al-Qiyamah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about Qiyamah, la uqsimu bi aqmil qiyamah wa la uqsimu nafsil lawama, and then suddenly Allah comes up to the verse, la tuharrik bihi lisanaka lita'jala bihi. Don't move your tongue to rush with the words of Quran. So people try to find a connection between moving the tongue with speed to retain the wahi and between Qiyamah, and they say maybe this connection, that connection. But our Ustad Hazrat Maulana Islamul Haq Sahib Rahmatullahi Alayhi used to say over here that we don't need to look for any connection there, because Quran is a speech, it's a conversation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could drift from one subject to another and then come back to that same subject. It's like when, let's say for example, a father is sitting with his child, they're sitting down to eat, he's narrating some story, like when we were young, this happened, that happened. In the meantime, in the middle of the, narrating the story, beta, hold the chamchi properly, spoon properly, make sure that Luqman doesn't fall on the floor, and pick it up and eat it, and then he continues with the story. So he says that wherever some advice is needed, Allah brings that advice in the middle, because Allah is talking to us. Allah is talking to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is why, these non-Muslim embraced Islam, and he said, I read the Quran, and I felt that Quran was talking to me directly. He was telling me about my illnesses, my diseases of the heart, and he was teaching me the cure to the sicknesses of my heart. So when you read the Quran in this manner, you will feel that Allah is talking to you directly. So this is why Allah said, Allah nazzala ahsan al-hadith. This is the most beautiful of conversations. And kitaban, it's compiled in the form of a kitab, a book. Mutashabihan. The verses are similar with one another. Meaning, many surahs, verses are similar. Story of Musa alayhi salam, repeated in many places. Hud alayhi salam, Salih alayhi salam, Shu'aib alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam. Verses come similar because everywhere Allah wants to give us some lesson. There is some lesson behind what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. Similarly, Quran, the words of Quran in some places are very identical. Meanings are identical, stories are identical. This is mutashabih, that the verses are, and this creates an excitement in the heart. You feel like reading it and you feel like moving on, because you've just read this, you're reading on to this, and you read again. So every time you learn something new. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeats the qissas and the stories, so we can learn lessons every time we go through them. So mutashabihan, the verses are similar with one another, and there are many lessons to learn from them. Allama Shabir Ahmad Usman, Hazrat Maulana Idris Kandalvi Rahmatullah Alayhi writes over here, कुरान हकीम की आयतें जो एक दूसरे से मिलती जुलती हैं, उसकी तमाम आयात और बातें फसाहत, बलागत, असरार और हिकम, सआदत और फलाह की ज़ामिन और कफ़ील होने में एक दूसरे के मुतशाबिह हैं कि फसाहत, बलागत, eloquence may be similar. Now this is a very amazing. Quran was not given in the form of a book to the Prophet. It was revealed over a period of 23 years. But if you look at the verses that were revealed earlier, Iqra bismi rabbikal ladhi khalaq, the first verse, and the verse that revealed last, wattaqu yawman turja'una fihi ila Allah, and the verses revealed in between, there is the pattern is same. It's all same. There is no ups and downs, highs and lows in the verses. This shows that this is not work of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he is a human being. Human beings go through various agonies and persecutions, problems, ups and downs, and the speeches can vary. But this is the book of Allah. This is why in fasahat and balaghat and eloquence, all the verses are same, intihai, fasih and baligh, and most eloquent. And at the same time, the hikmats and the wisdom and the secrets that these verses hold, and they are for our good fortune and success in this world and in the hereafter. So whole Quran is guarantee of success. You read it, you practice upon it, you do what Quran tells you to do, and you will gain success. So this is the meaning of mutashabihan. And masani means oft repeated. Sab'ul masani wal Quran al-Atiq. So Quran verses are oft repeated. How old are we? 50, 60, 40. But we have been repeating the same surah since we were children in our childhood. And we are reading the same surah in namaz, Surah Fatiha, Surah Ikhlas, Surah Kawthar, Surah Al-Qariya, Surah Takasur, Surah Rahman, Surah Yasin. But Alhamdulillah, we still get that same feeling every time we read those surahs. Every time we read Surah Yasin, we feel so nice. This can't be with any other book. If it was any other book, the best book which you would love to read again and again, you would read maybe 2 times, twice, 3 times, thrice, 4, 5 times, 10 times, and you'll get fed up, and then you'll put it away. Even if it's the most beautiful comic book or this book or that book, even if it's a beautiful movie which you love, you will watch it a few times and you'll be fed up with it. But anything, insan gets fed up. But Quran is such that it's repeated and repeated and repeated, we never get fed up with it. This is Masani.
इसीलिए जो है सूरह फातिहा को बाद मुफस्सिरीन ने मसानी
सब मसानी तफसीर जी
और उसके बगैर ना आपकी नमाज
होगी
दुआ होगा ना
जी تقشعر منه جلود الذين يخشون ربهم ثم تلين جلودهم وقلوبهم إلى ذكر الله. When those who have fear of their Rabb hear and recite those verses, their hearts tremble and their skin and the hair of the skin stand on their strength. They start shivering. But then تلين جلودهم وقلوبهم, their skin and bodies and their hearts soften to the zikr of Allah. When we hear Quran, if our hearts tremble and we stop immediately, this is sign of Iman. إنما المؤمنون الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم وإذا تليت عليهم آياته زادتهم إيمانا. So this khawf and fear which overcomes the heart, is a sign. You will see many people in Taraweeh, when Imam is reciting, they start crying. Dip, 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 dip. Sometimes we see Taraweeh of Haram Sharif, and the camera focuses on a person who's from an Asian subcontinent, Asian descent. He doesn't know Arabic language, but at the recitation, he's crying and he's focused because he is so much, concentrating on the words of Allah that he begins to cry. That effect it has on the reciter and on the listener. So Quran is Quran. You read the verses of Quran, you start trembling. تَخْشَعِرُّ مِنْهُ جُلُودُ الَّذِينَ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُم. And then ثُمَّ تَلِينُ جُلُودُهُم وَقُلُوبُهُم إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. But thereafter, their hearts soften, their skin soften, and they feel really nice. After that kayfiyat goes, it soften, and the itminan qalb, and the serenity, and the peace, and the tranquility sets down. So Quran is Quran by which we do get that fear, then the fear subsides and we feel relaxed and we feel itminan in the heart. Alhamdulillah. These were the verses of Allah. I recited them. I felt so nice. Alhamdulillah. So this is iqshi'rar. Now, a subject is touched over here by Mufassirin as to whether a person when listening to Quran and he screams and falls unconscious, is that allowed or not? Qurtubi has narrated from over here some quotes that Sahaba Ridwanullahi Mujma'een did not like this. Asma bint Abi Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anha says that when Sahaba used to hear the Quran, their eyes would flow and their skins would shiver. Someone said these days some people faint. And she said, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Maybe this is some shaitani harkat. Muhammad ibn Sirin was asked about people who fall unconscious and faint. So Muhammad ibn Sirin said, between us and them is this test. Tell them to sit on a rooftop and recite Quran from beginning till end. And if they fall from that rooftop, then that means they are true in their feelings. Otherwise, they are just acting. So, some of the Salafi Salihin used to see these types of quotes which are mentioned over here. However, Allama Abu Abdullah al-Ubbi rahmatullahi alayhi in Sharh Muslim has said that this feeling which overcomes a person in istilah of Ahlul Tasawwuf is called wajd. And this wajd is, uh, of it, Imam Ghazali has said it can be categorized into three categories. Number one, sometimes that kayfiyat of wajd is continuous. And in that state, whatever happens, the person is not moved. And this is the condition of Sahaba Ridwanullah Ajmain. And when Prophet ﷺ used to recite Quran to them, the most that would happen was lahum aninun ka'anin as-sabiyyi. They would just lower their heads, cover their heads with the sheets, and they would be crying like a baby, sobbing like a baby. This is most that could happen to them, because that wajd was with them all the time. Junaid Baghdadi Rahmatullah Ali used to have this feeling all the time. Someone said, Junaid, many people upon hearing verses of Quran scream and faint as well. Why does that never happen to you? And Junaid Baghdadi said, وَتَرَى الْجِبَالَ تَحْسَبُهَا جَامِدَةً وَهِيَ تَمُرُّ مَرَّ السَّحَابِ. You will feel that the mountains are set in their places, whereas they will be moving like the moving of the clouds. Meaning when the trumpet is blown, you might think that the mountain, Himalaya mountain is in its place, but it's not in its place. It's moved from its place and it's flying like cotton wool, like the clouds. So he said, these conditions come on our hearts and go, but we are set in our places. So we might be moving inside, but our body doesn't move. You feel that we are not moving, but we are moving inside. This is like the underwater, the ocean. Inside, underneath, there is so much turbulence inside. But above, the water appears to be sakin, and there is sukoon in there. So sometimes the heart has all that feeling, but upwards it just remains calm. Number two, other times these feelings come and some tajalli of Allah manifests upon the heart of a person, and he just screams and faints. This is because the heart is soft and is unable to absorb that tajalli. And this is why it happens to them. And this is beyond one's control. It's out of control. And a person is ma'zur in there. He is excused. He is not attempting to do it. He is ma'zur and excused in that manner. So he is like a person, who's struck by a hammer. So he's going to scream. So similarly, when that tajalli comes on the heart and the heart is weak, it's not there all the time, it comes from time to time, so he starts crying and screaming and the effects show on him. So in that case, he needs to be brought under control, calm down, and slowly, inshallah, that condition will become continuous, and he won't scream and he won't faint. Now, this type of screaming, fainting is true. Sometimes people scream at hearing some poetry as well, because the effect of that. So Quran, many cases you will see that they heard the Quran and screamed and fell dead. Like you see many stories. Hazrat Shaykh mentions it. Kashti mein ja rahe hain, and someone started reciting Quran. إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ وَإِذَا النُّجُومُ انْكَدَرَتْ وَإِذَا الْجِبَالُ سُيِّرَتْ. And when they came upon وَإِذَا الصُّحُفُ نُشِرَتْ, when the A'mal Nama and the book of deeds will be spread out in front of a person, this is your A'mal Nama, see what you did. So the Arabi Bedouin was struck by so much fear that he screamed and he fell dead in the ship. Hazrat Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Qattan used to recite 15 juz of Quran on a daily basis. And once he asked someone to recite the Quran in front of him, and the person started Surah al-Dukhan, Hamim Dukhan. And when he came upon إِنَّ يَوْمَ الْفَصْلِ مِيقَاتُهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ يَوْمَ لَا يُغْنِي مَوْلًا عَنْ مَوْلًا شَيْئًا وَلَا هُمْ يُنصَرُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ اللَّهُ إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الرَّحِيمُ إِنَّ شَجَرَةَ الزَّقُّومِ طَعَامُ الْأَثِيمِ كَالْمُهْلِ يَغْلِي فِي الْبُطُونِ. When he came upon that, Yahya al-Qattan just couldn't control himself. He just screamed and fainted. He was there lying, fainted like a dead body. People thought he's dying. Now, his students say if someone had the ability to keep that under control, it would have been Yahya al-Qattan, because he had so much composure in him. But even he couldn't control himself. So this is something which comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this feeling, and if a person, is overcome by this, we shouldn't blame him for what happened. Number three, sometimes some people do fake this type of thing, and they just attempt to show themselves. So this type of fake attitude is wrong, and Sufia Kiram have nothing to do with that. Such people are imposters and they try to make things up. We have nothing to do with that. Anyway, this is what Qurtubi has and Ibn Kathir has also mentioned over here. تَخْشَعِرُّ مِنْهُ جُلُودُ الَّذِينَ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُم. Their skins and the bodies shiver with the fear of Allah. Then they calm down. After the zikr of Allah, first you might scream and faint or something would happen. But then slowly you'll calm down and everything will subside. You'll feel nice and ease. This is تَلِينُ جُلُودُهُمْ وَقُلُوبُهُمْ إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. And when this happens, then remember ذَلِكَ هُدَى اللَّهِ يَهْدِي بِهِ مَن يَشَاءُ. This is guidance of Allah. He guides with it whom He wills. وَمَن يُضْلِلِ اللَّهِ فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ هَادٍ. Whosoever Allah leads astray, then no one can guide him. Allah guides. Hidayat is of two types. Hidayat of just showing the way, and number two, hidayat of tawfiq, and giving the ability to follow that guidance. Similarly, dalalat and error and misleading is of two types. One is just showing that this is gumrahi and dalalat, don't go on there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has explained that to everyone. And the other is to put someone into that error and take them into that guidance. This is not Allah's fail. This is the fail of Iblis, Shaitan. إنه عدو مضل مبين وأضل فرعون قومه وما هدى وأضلهم السامري وزين لهم الشيطان أعمالهم فصدهم عن السبيل فهم لا يهتدون. So Iblis forces people into misguidance and error. Allah doesn't force anyone into misguidance and error. If someone wants it, then Allah allows him take it. And after repeated admonitions and guidance and explaining, if a person doesn't want it, then Allah said, okay, take it then. This is idlal. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides whom He wills, and if Allah misguides and misleads someone, meaning Allah lets him lose, so he goes on that misguidance and error, then nobody can guide him and bring him, because it is only Allah's tawfiq which can bring a person. This person has been deserted from Allah's tawfiq. إِن يَنْصُرْكُمُ اللَّهُ فَلَا غَالِبَ لَكُمْ وَإِن يَخْذُلْكُمْ فَمَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَنْصُرُكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ. If Allah helps you, no one can overpower you. But if Allah abandons you, then who's going to help you after Allah? So upon this, we bring our dars to a close. Inshallah, we'll continue next week because it's Maghrib time now, inshallah.